Yeah, let's just start. Might as well. Just do an intro. Splash title screen here. Hello, besties. Welcome back to the Weavercast, or welcome back to Weaver's vlog. So I tried to film this in a way where it's a one-third, but I don't know if I'm getting that right. It's probably a little bit off, but that works. Yeah, no hat today. They're all somewhere, probably getting washed. It is the end of March. I have been doing vlogs for 2 months. I've been doing YouTube for 3 months. Let me go back and recap some of this stuff that's been happening. So I started off YouTube. This is a YouTube journey vlog. And then I'm going to go back and tell that stuff. But first, my big announcement, the draft proof, the final edition of Caravan of Blades will be with me at the end of April, which means that I can pretty much order the proof copies May 1st. And then I have about 3 months to mail them out. So I will start mid-month this month. I will start the Kickstarter campaign for the second one. And then I need to update my backers because I just got this news. So that's good. I just need to get all the artists' stuff in order. That will be the only holdup. So if you're a small artist and you want to do some card art for me, send me a DM. I don't even know if this YouTube have DMs. Send me a message. Probably on Immersive Ink Discord. After you go through the proper processes, which is kind of the theme of this thing, this month. So I'm a moderator at the Immersive Ink Discord. And this month we're getting a lot of people it's like 2,000 people. It's new writers, publishers, authors, and then readers. And we've been getting a lot of direct DMs to people from people trying to solicit and are like, hey, listen, if you want to sell stuff here, you have to go through the process. You have to get approved as a vendor. You can't just DM every single person, right? And do I have one of these books out here? So let me grab a book. All right. So full disclosure, I am a personal trainer. This is Precision Nutrition level 1. I am actually level 2 certified. So I learned how to coach people in nutrition. Shocker. Did it for 10 years. That was the way I got money on me. That was the way that I paid for myself. I don't like this. That's better. That was the way that I paid my bills. Used to wake up in the morning, go there, and I coach people at a very specific gym in New Jersey. And I'm going to talk about some like deep coaching stuff now. So this might apply to you. Hopefully you can learn something from it. But I'm going to talk about identity and how that shapes what we do. And that's kind of one of the things I talk about a lot. So in this one, they talk about coaching, right? It's a good thing. I recommend level 2. They are working on getting level 2 available for insurance. If that is, I will have to go back through the course and recertify. But I'm not actively looking for clients right now, so I'm not soliciting. If I was soliciting, what I would do is, and this is kind of what's happening. So people are leaving. So somebody just dropped in yesterday, and they just left a link, and then they bounced, right? So they left a link for their book, which is fine, but they didn't engage with anybody. So like, I'm like, hey, tell me about your book, and they're like, gone. I'm like, you can't just drop a link and expect us to buy your book, especially when you drop it in the wrong channel. Like we have a channel for self-advertising for authors because we think it's important. Self-promo for authors. Like you'll hear me talk about my book a lot. But I'm also like, I'm trying to get people to read this Chicken Cultivator one, not Beware of Chicken. That one's great. As it's just about to launch. I will probably do a launch pre and post mortem for that one. because I am managing her. But anyway, so back to this. So took this course, great course. Took the level 1 course, took the level 2 course, which was 40 weeks online, once a week. Learned a lot. And it's about behavior change as well. So there's a scope of practice. You can't do registered dietitian stuff. And you're asking me like, this is a writing channel. Why are you talking about this? Because this is where I came from. And people say, write what you know. And I'm also like, I was a coach and people come to me and they're like, hey, what should I do? And I'm just like, let's talk about your goals and what you want to do there. So my friend Divine, they don't want to publish. They don't want any money. They just want to put it out there and have people read it. And I respect that, right? I'm never going to tell somebody not to do the thing they want to do, right? So like, Divine, you're doing great. Keep it up. So like, but like they're editing their first 10 chapters and like they're getting too much feedback. And because somebody thinks that they have the same goal as them, and they had a little bit of a clash, now they're good. But you know who you are. When someone tells me their goal is this, and then they don't do things that align with that, then I'm kind of like, okay, right. So what you learn in this one and in the Online Trainer Academy, which also I'm still certified in, thank you, John Goodman, great, is that you just need to get into the community, learn to talk to the people there, and then not like be blatant about your advertising, right? Like if I was going to go back and be a personal trainer for writers, which that's not my, that's not who I'm trying to recruit. Like, look, if you want me to coach you through a transformation, yeah, great, okay. Men and women over 35 who just need to figure out what they're doing, talk to me. But like, that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to talk about writing, and I'm here to talk about how your identity shapes what you're writing. So like, I'm working at this gym in the morning. It's a CrossFit gym, right? I've been a CrossFit coach for 10 years. I had my certification lapse during COVID. Came back and I became a father. So I'm like, okay. I had a full-time job. CrossFit was my part-time job. I always thought I was going to make a gym. Did not happen. I might have a gym after I retire from here, or if something happens. But I had the business. I always had the business plan in the back of my head. So in most CrossFit classes, you come in, you're a group, you have a set time, you do stuff with the group, and then like you guys have a great time together. And that's kind of what I'm doing at lunch with these guys, is we have a set time where we're going to go do the thing. And the way that I would use this as a writer is like, you can either have a synchronous or an asynchronous writing group, or writer's critique group, right? Because the purpose of the group is to critique each other, right? So you could be synchronously, like you're all like doing this live together online, or asynchronously, where you're like, hey, I'm uploading my chapters for the week, and take a look. That is like probably the best thing for newer authors, is to have one. And I'm like, the basics are, if you newsletter, have a platform, do some reading, do a lot of reading, but like write every day, and write the thing that you want to write, and then get critiques. You have to take critiques, and you have to receive critiques, or take and give critiques. So you know how to make someone else's work better, and that will go back to your work, right? But not you, Corey. You're perfect. Or Steve. Anybody named Steve, you're absolutely perfect. Never change. So the regular CrossFit gym's like that. So like you're working in a group. There's a time when you have to arrive. The class starts at that time, and the class ends at a specific time. The gym I was at, it was like the most rebel gym I could imagine. Okay, so rebels, it's like one of the 4 tendency frameworks. Rebels, they reject all exterior or interior expectations. So what's an expectation? It's like, hey, I expect you to do X. Like your boss is telling you, hey, I expect you to do this project by the end of the week. That's an external expectation. Or like your wife, well, maybe not your wife, your husband, because it's weird when you're like romantically involved. Or your friend's like, hey, I have an expectation, we're going to meet up at this time. That is an external expectation. That's external accountability. And then there's internal expectations, where you're like, hey, I want to do this for me. I'm going to wake up every morning at 5:30, and I'm going to do something marketing wise. I'm gonna do some deep work, or I'm gonna run, depending on the day. That is like internal accountability, external accountability, right? So I'm not a rebel. I just really understand that really well because my wife is a rebel, and because like a lot of the writers I work with are rebels, and I have been trying to get them. I'm trying to figure out how to get them to write, right? And so like there's two big things that work for rebels, and that is gamifying the thing that they're doing, right? Because they want to do it. They want to do it their own way, right? That and no, no shame. Do your work your own way, because only you know how to write your story. And this is going to go back into the character thing, because I've written rebels before as characters. Freya is a rebel in my series Red Mist. She will not be bound by rules. She wants to go to the Druid she wants to go to the Red Mist Druid School, and then she wants to leave on her own terms earlier. She wants to marry the guy who she saved his life, but like he's hot, so she's like, all right, I can deal with it. And she's like, I'm going to pull you my wake, and we're just gonna do this thing. And he's like, yeah, got it. So gamifying, like turning your writing into a game. That's one thing that works for rebels. So far I've seen, like, if you can assign him points, like, so my friend Zach, he's got 1 point per day for every day that he reaches his goal, right? And then or 10 points per week, whatever thing that works for you, right? And I'm not saying you have to do this. I'm just saying, like, this is a framework from which to say, right? There has been like a little bit of scientific studies on this, that this is kind of a thing. Very few people, like, so like if you break it down, very few people are rebels. It's like 5% of the population. Very few people are upholders. Upholders adhere to all internet outer expectations. I'm an upholder. I've only met 2 upholders besides me ever, Fairmont and my friend Minnie, and I love them dearly, but like I guess like I feel it. Upholders like 7% of the population, so they're rare. Upholders and rebels are very rare. The vast majority of people are obligers or questioners. So, but the big ones being obligers. Obligers reject all internal accountability, so they can't be accountable themselves, but they need external accountability. Like, so, and that's why I have these accountability groups, mostly for obligers, who make up the bulk of people, like 40-50%, because they need that kind of accountability. Like, I'm telling you, you will give me these words by Friday. Like every Friday, my accountability group in the Dragon Realm Saga server, they post their word count, or they post like what they've done for the week, and they kind of like, I'm also like trying to get like, what did you do this week that changed, right? Versus the questioners who reject external accountability and have internal accountability. It just has to make sense to them. You guys can do whatever you want. My friend Sarah's a questioner, and I've been like, hey, you should write a book. She's like, I don't think I need to. And I'm like, you should, because you ran a successful one woman business before you transitioned to another successful one woman solo practice business. She was a therapist, massage therapist, and then she became a licensed mental health therapist. And I'm just like, you should write a book. You should systematize this. And she's like, oh, I don't see the need. I'm just like, okay. Because it would help other people in her position. Did you know that 90% of small businesses fail within the first 2 years? 90%? It's 50% in the first year. She had a business going for 5 years. There was something there. I don't know. So going back to, so we have gamifying, and then we have identity, right? So those are the 2 things that I really think can do it. So like, what is identity? That's the vaguest concept. But I want you to think about how you think about who you are, and then how you think about who you could be, and think about how you can change that. So like, if you're a rebel and you say like, my identity is this, and that is immutable, that is not a thing. You can change who you are. You can say like, hey, listen, guess what? So my wife, like, her identity, she's like a great mom, and she's a loving partner. So if your identity is that you are a great writer who puts out this much work daily, or if you're a great writer who sticks to this, because, and that the other thing is spite, like, works. So like rebels like feeling like no one thinks they can do the thing, right? Because I think the common thing about rebels is they can't get stuff done. No one can make them do anything, and neither can they, right? But like the most powerful thing they have is their identity, and they say, if my identity is that I am a content creator, YouTuber, I am a writer, then that is what I will be, right? And like, you're not stuck to an identity, right? So like, if I was a rebel, my identity would be like, hey, I'm a great dad, or like, hey, I'm like a himbo, or I'm a funny guy, and I can say that unironically because I'm just trying to have fun. But like, if you know what your identity is, right, you can change that, right? And that's the power of the rebel tendency, is that you can just say, my identity is this, and that's who I am now. But you don't have to think about the future. Like there's like no other time but now. I am this, right? And then whatever else you were before, it doesn't matter. Be like, hey, I used to be like that, but now I am this. And then once you've like internalized that, be like, hey, I'm a guy that writes 2,000 words a day because I'm going to get my epic deck builder series out. Then you can just get your epic deck builder series out and then send it to me so I can read it, please. I would love to read an epic deck builder series by somebody about building decks. And that is definitely a joke I've made before about carpentry and cards. Carpentry and cards, man. I should make a blurb about that, but then I'm gonna really want to write it, and I have I have a work in progress. I'm still workshopping. Okay, so how do I use this? So you have gamifying, you have identity. All right, so think about how you would say, I am going to win this game. I'm going to write this book or this series, and I'm going to write this by like this time, or I'm going to write this every day during lunch. Like, because the other thing about rebels is like the spite thing. I love it when a rebel's like, I'm going to do this because no one thinks I can. Like, if that's what it takes for you to write your book, even if no one sees it except for you, like, please do that. Like, no one believes you can do it. Okay. And meanwhile, in the back, I'm like, yes, you could do it, but I don't need to. I can't say that. And if I say that I expect a rebel to finish their book, then they're going to be like, well, now I don't want to do it anymore. And so, like, I would just say, like, if you're not a rebel, just think about how characters. You probably have someone in your life that's like this. Now that I've said it, I don't want to do it anymore. And you're just like, wait, what? I just reminded you that you need to pick up the kids up, or no, that's two. I just reminded you that you needed to call the doctor, and they're like, no, now I'm not doing it. So if you could think of that, the character, adding that as a character trait, like, now I'm not doing it, right? Because you said something like, I was fine. Like, I hate being reminded about stuff. Like, I hate that. But like, that's the only thing I take from rebels. So, or think like, hey, my identity is that I'm a great man. I'm a storyteller. I am all these things, or like, this is who I am. And then you have to like remind yourself daily, this is who I am. Like, no one else can define who I am. I am this. And then you have to go back and be like, what does this mean to me? And what is the person who does these? What is the person that ascribes to these ideals, or this ideal of like, I am a pig farmer? What does that person do? I don't know why that came up as a thing. I am a furry woodland assassin. Right? What does that person do? Right? So like, anything that person does in their identity, that is fair game. I don't know where I went on a tangent with this, but yeah, so think about how that would do things. And then this always reminds you to this scene in Cradle. So Lyndon signs, main character Cradle, major spoilers for Cradle, by the way. He signs up for the Sky Corps, he becomes gold, and then they're just like, hey, we're going to do this mission, and for every beast you destroy, you get a point. And then he's like, points? You didn't tell me there was going to be points, but there are points on the line? right? Like, if you figure out a way to like add points to it, to gamify what they're doing, you will get, like, you have to like think about your own psychology as a rebel. Whew, sky's the limit. But like, you just think about like, what is your identity? Who am I, right? And then here's the other thing is like, you might say like, I am not a guy who finishes a book. But if you're a rebel, you can change your identity. And like, take us back to writing. Your character can change their identity, right? Because you can say like, and that's the essence of a character arc. Like, is they're changing from here to there. I'm getting a handle of this. Boop. They're changing their trajectory, right? If they don't change, there's no character arc. I mean, there's a flat arc, which is like that's fine. But like, if your main character is having a flat arc, then the other characters better have some cool arcs that's happening. But like, my character who is a rebel is going to do things in her own way, even though she needs the specific training by the druid. I think I'm going to write Red Mist again. Even though she needs druid training, she's like, I'm only going to do this druid training for 1.5 years at most. I'm going to do the bare minimum. I'm going to rush ahead. And then I'm going to leave as soon as I can and go on missions, right? And this is kind of like similar to Moraine in The Wheel of Time. The second that she could leave the tower, she's left the tower, right? Because she's a blue and she's like, I'm getting the heck out of here. I do not want to be under this control. Because basically, while you're under the tower, anyone can order you around that outranks you. And the thing about Freya is like, she's got a generational talent, and she's like, I'm not going to be held down by that. And she's going to bring her husband along with her, because I'm writing happy endings, and I'm also writing what happens after the happy ending. And yeah, oh man, I can't believe I'm going back to Red Mist after so long. I'm excited. So Red Mist is my series about woodland creatures. It is heavily inspired by Root. They're actually all woodland creature sides, which is just like, and then there's magic, and it's the woodland creatures against the cats, the marquise, all stuff you'll be familiar with if you played the board game. I've just added Bridgerton and Mistborn elements together. Mistborn type power system, because they have to eat food to get mana or get energy, and then Bridgerton because the mice have decided that they have a feudal state. And then what's the other one? And Redwall, because why the heck not? But I'm probably gonna release. I might finish a second book. I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a shorter second book. We'll see. I plotted that one out really well, but it was like 2 years ago, and my writing has changed significantly since then. But it's the third person limited. But I'm excited to go back to an old project and get along. I plotted out 6 books, of which I was most excited to get to book 5, which was like a 200-year time jump. Spoilers. But like, book 1 is done. The first novella is done. Second novella is half written. But it's like a passion project, so like, it's not going to make me anything. I'm just having fun with it, and that's kind of how you should need to approach your writing. If you're having fun with it, great. I don't know how to end this. Let's see. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Have a good day, besties, and make us all proud.